And once again, welcome to Let's Talk Tresco. Once again, we are here with Tresco to go ahead and learn a little bit more about what they do and a few of our guests here. In fact, in just a moment, we're going to be talking to Lily here. But if you're wondering what is Tresco or who is Tresco, well, for 55 years, Tresco has been providing professional and individualized services, supports, and opportunities to people of any age with differing abilities, their families, and their communities. Tresco currently provides services in 12 counties throughout New Mexico and growing with three main divisions. TOTS Early Intervention, Tresco's founding early intervention program in Diana and Sierra County, providing families with babies from birth age 3, therapy, education, coaching, and how to support their baby's development and milestones. Day One Home Visiting, which is the Parents as Teachers affiliate program that partners with the expecting families and families prenatal to age 5 to promote child development, parenting, supporting, and relationship building among the family, home visitor, and community. And of course, Tresco Works, where they offer community employment opportunities to people of varying disabilities, including veterans and students through federal, state, and local contracts. Currently, they have over 50 contracts that provides quality custodial grounds and total facility management services in 12 counties throughout New Mexico. And once again, growing. They always seem to be growing and getting more. And if you're interested in checking out Tresco and what they do, you can always go to their website, trescoinc.org, and check out all their programs, TOTS Early Intervention, Day One, their Works program. And of course, if you wanted to go ahead and give them a call, you can do so by calling 575-528-2200. And right now, we'll go ahead and bring in our guest. And our guest is very interesting today because the amount of history that you have with Tresco is, well, let's just say there's a lot that's going on right there. So we'll start off right with the beginning. Go ahead and introduce yourself and what you're currently doing now with Tresco.
Well, thank you for inviting me. My name
Mhm.
is Liliana Alvarez, and everybody calls me Lily in Tresco.
Hi, Lily.
And I started working at Tresco in 2006. It
Mhm.
was my first job right after NMSU. I graduated family and child science, and right away I got a position here as a developmental specialist. And I started working with families down in Anthony.
Mhm.
And so it was wonderful meeting everyone. And then I actually even started with Sylvia Washington.
Did you?
Yes, when we all started together. And so I known her since 2006. And it was great working with families. I did a lot of field work working,
Mhm.
from all the way from Sullen Park. And then I even did some families here in Las Cruces, worked with them, Chaparral,
Mhm.
all around here in the Doñana County.
Yeah, and the back then, of course, it wasn't quite as wide as it is right now because right now they are just everywhere with that program. But you said this was your first job right out of college, right?
Yes, right out of college in
Okay.
my field. Yeah.
And are you from originally from Las Cruces?
I am from Southern Park, New Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would travel, commute, you know, for a while at NMSU and then graduated and then got a job at Tresco as a developmental specialist. I also worked with them as a family consumer, as a coordinator here as well,
Oh,
a
that's
family
awesome.
coordinator. And so I did that as well and did a dual role, kind of doing both until we went back and I started working as a contractor as a developmental specialist to really give me that flexibility of
Hmm.
work being able to be at home with my children and then at the same time working for Tresco.
Hmm.
And that's when really I also seek support with Tresco and as a parent
Hmm.
needing that support with my children.
Okay. And we'll get into that a little bit more as we go along with this. But when you first initially got that job right out of college, I mean, what was that like for you, just starting off right there with this company?
Oh, I was ecstatic. It was awesome. Starting, I learned a lot. I got really in-depth training,
Hmm.
learning more about what is early intervention, how to support families, guiding them, and really listening, being mindful of what's going on at their home.
Hmm.
Because respectfully, we're going to their home. or we're going to the daycares, or we're going to a different setting. Maybe it's grandma's house, or maybe it's the aunt's,
Mhm.
or someone that cares for this child. And we have to be very mindful when we're going into the home. We have to leave judgment out the door,
Mhm.
and we have to be there to support not only the parent but the child. And it's a whole, it's the whole family. And
Mhm.
so really listening, paying attention, what is the most concerning for the parent at that moment? What is it that they're seeking? Is it early intervention, or do they need some home visiting
Mhm.
services? Maybe they need more support in really speaking to someone, especially even during prenatal. So either, it just depends. And that's the best thing about Tresco, is that they have these two entities of just services that they can offer, from early intervention, supporting the child, to day one that supports the whole entire family, the parent, the guardian, and really support them to give them that backbone that they need to be able to offer, well, parenting for their child in a positive, in a good way. Because sometimes as a parent, we need that support. We need where we can seek that guidance of somebody kind of guiding us and letting us know, am I doing
Mhm.
the right thing, or do what is it that I need to really work on, or do I need to seek more other resources for my child or for myself.
Well, and that is one of the things that I find that is really awesome about the program and what Tresco does in supporting the entire family with that and getting the whole entire family involved. Because a lot of times when you think about just coming in to work with the child, or even in their Tresco Works department, and how much they do with some of the other families and everybody else that they work with, the idea of incorporating the family in this whole process is, I think, amazing. It's a great idea, and it's a great way to overall help that child out in general. Because when you have the family supporting them when Lily's not there, to kind of go through things with them or something like that, that is a really awesome thing. And I think it's one of the greatest things about the program that they have there. So,
Yes.
how long were you actually with initially with Tresco when you first started?
I started in 2006,
Hmm.
and then I left in 2016.
That's 10 years.
Yes.
That's a long time.
Yeah, and it was just a great place to work with. Really, I learned a lot. Had different level of people guiding me,
Hmm.
supervising, or even having that, being able to work with people, go inside and really help each other. Not where we kind of made it where it's like we communicated, we talked, we even help each other and say, what, I see this family at this day, maybe let's go together, let's go work together and see if that would work best for the family. Because sometimes we also need to consider that many services might be too much. So
Hmm.
what can we do to help better support the family, so we're not saying, we need to come Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and
Hmm.
maybe really, help them and say, well, what works better for you, if it's us kind of joining in as a team
Hmm.
and helping you and supporting you in that way. And
Okay, yeah.
so
And once again, that focus on the family and being able to facilitate what the family needs to help out with that child, which is, like I said, it's an amazing thing. Why don't other people think about that one when they're getting things together? Sometimes you kind of wonder. But with 10 years, it's your experience right there. I mean, there's got to be some. Is there any memory that kind of sticks out? Some maybe a milestone or a certain somebody that you're helping out that just kind of makes you go like, "Wow, this is why I do this."
well, there's so many.
I like it. There's just so many. You can't
Yeah,
think of it, but yeah,
yeah.
one or two. Yeah.
It's hard to choose, but one of them was a family that we were really supporting. We were doing a class that we had in Anthony, and so they would go twice. I could not remember right now if it was Mondays and Wednesdays or Tuesdays and
That,
Thursdays, but it was
that's
a
okay. It's been a
class.
while. I'll let it go. I'll let it slide.
And it was a class, and it was a family that was going,
Mhm.
and it gave an opportunity for the family to get out, and be in a setting where other kids, could interact and play. And then you have where that opportunity to speak to other parents, and then have other therapists and other support, to go in there and talk to you, and not having to make multiple appointments. But at the same time, you see your children playing, you get to celebrate holidays. And then this child had a severe diagnosis, and so was in a wheelchair. And so that opportunity of being able to engage with other children, and we made it possible on just making sure that whatever activity we were doing, that that child had the opportunity to participate in anything, from if we were swimming, maybe putting a little pool that's maybe less than half an inch of water, and we would sit in there with them and get wet, and we would give him the opportunity to play with the wet, of course, watching them 24/7 with mom support and everything, and being able to engage with the other children. Siblings were invited, so siblings were also be able to engage. And then just having that opportunity that we see that child grow and then transitioning to school. And it was just beautiful just to see that, we could see him smiling, we would see mom smiling, and then brother would have fun. It was just a wonderful time. And I remember just seeing just the family being happy,
Yeah.
and enjoying their time, and not dragging your feet to having to show up and going. It was just, it wasn't that. It was really the feeling of enjoying and being in a setting that it wasn't even your job. It was more, it was an opportunity to go do what you love to do, which
Yeah.
is
It's not a task that you need to get done. It's like when you, but one of the things that I've talked with everybody here at Tresco, it's like when you come into work, it's not like, oh, I have to go into work today. It's more like, oh, I get a chance to see this person again, or I get a chance to interact with this family again. And it really is that whole thing where if you enjoy what you do, and everybody that I've talked with Tresco really enjoys what they do, that comes through in this whole environment that Tresco has created for the families and everybody
Yes.
else. And like you said, siblings are invited to a lot of these things. I've been to a couple of events where, they've had some things going on, and it's really, really awesome how that whole thing comes about. And like I said, there's a lot of history that you have here with Tresco. And so you worked with them for 10 years. But one of the coolest things, interesting, is that you are actually a parent who took advantages of the services that Tresco offers and provides for your children.
Yes. And so I saw that my child was having difficulty moving, walking, and then
Mhm.
also verbally speaking, and then even eating, like the sensory part.
Mhm.
And so I really said, I'm always advocating, do an early intervention, start early, give them the services. You never know what you might get out of it. It's free,
Mhm.
and you're not obligated. At the end, if you say no, it's no. And so I said, why am I not doing that? So I took advantage, and I saw my child bloom, just getting the information, the
Mhm.
feedback, training, coaching, the help that they gave me of just understanding more in depth my child's individual development
Mhm.
made a difference, as for me as a parent. And after that, I felt more, even as an employee, more confident being able to support families, because I understood when, as a parent, you're concerned, and what are, these concerns. And being able to reach out and ask for these services kind of really even made me feel more, um, as an advocate for parents to seek more of these
Mhm.
services, to get it for, not just for yourself, but as for your child, to see them, meet their milestones. So not only did my eldest was in Tresco, but my other two children were also in Tresco. And so I just saw them bloom, and really see them. Just, I even still even have their graduation
Oh,
pictures
do
from
you?
Tresco with their little white cap and gown. And I see them, and they even still have them in their room, with their picture and me holding them with their little cap and gown from
Do they
Tresco.
have memories or fond memories of with Tresco and some of the things that they were able to do?
They say they love going to when we had events like for the fall events,
Mhm.
making the cookies when
Mhm.
we had that opportunity for them to get messy and put whatever toppings they wanted on frosting and candy, and just having those events of trying the cookies. And then the
Mhm.
summer when we had that getting at the park and the children getting wet and everything, they remember all that. They say that it was the funnest day in their life, that they knew they were graduating, but they didn't understand for what they were graduating, but they just had
They just
fun.
had a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it interesting because you have um, a unique perspective as being an employee and then being also a parent that was into the program. And you said, did you mention that your first child was getting ready to graduate?
She is. She's actually getting ready to graduate in June, and she was the one that I was worried, and I was like, "Am I doing the right thing?" And look at her; she's graduating in June, and she got accepted at NMSU,
Oh,
and
awesome.
she'll be starting this fall in
What is she
NMSU.
looking at studying, if I may?
Animal science.
Animal science?
She's gonna be a veterinarian, and so she's really going into the program here at NMSU.
I have two things to say about that. One, maybe Tresco needs to get into an animal type program, and that way, she can come and work over here with Tresco. And second, if she's really going to go for a veterinarian, pick the veterinary school that's in the Bahamas. No, not the Bahamas. It's in the Caribbean.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, there. I know this because a good friend of mine did want to become a veteran, and she had to choose with her schools. And there's just a very few amount of veterinary schools that are out there.
Yes.
So she chose the one with the beach,
Yeah.
and she went to school there. And you would see pictures that you would post online. And she took her husky with her, so I wasn't sure about that was a bright idea, but yeah, with them on the beach and say it's like another great day at school, that type of thing. So
Yeah.
I would, I would know. I don't know if you want to let her do that, but
No, she's thinking about it. She did bring that up, going to the Caribbean for school.
it's an.
So
I'll just put it this way: it is an option that I think that she might consider right there. But like I said, that's a unique perspective, being the parent and the employee, and the fact that you were still an employee while she was going through this at that time. Then, right?
yes, yes.
Uh,
And during that time, we just saw her just really bloom, and so we just knew we made a good choice,
mhm,
really being at participating in early intervention, um, and really getting the support that she needed, and then we needed to
mhm.
be better parents. And then our second child comes,
Uh
and we're like, oh no, we need more support because now we're working with two. And so with our second child, that's when I really reached out to Tresco and say I need the support. And I did get the support because my daughter was diagnosed with autism
huh.
during that time. And so that was really where I really felt that they just helped me left and right on really finding what was best for
Mhm.
our second child. And so, and now she's in middle school, graduating 8th grade, and
Wow,
going to high school in a regular setting. And she's doing wonderful.
that is awesome right there. Now, if like I said, having to see it from both sides right there. If there was one message that you would like to send out to parents or anybody that's out there that could be listening or watching right now, what is it that you would tell them about Tresco and what they have to offer?
I think taking the time, going to the website, reading, calling, really talking, even if you aren't ready to do the referral, having a talk with one of the Tresco TOTS early intervention staff. Therapists, and really tell them your concerns. They're there to listen. They're there to hear you, and really kind of strategize what's the support that you need. And always remember that you even though you sign up and they give you the information, it's still your choice.
Mhm.
It's your choice, and you don't go wrong just getting information that you really can get support. It's free. And, it's really whatever you need. Tresco is listening and hearing you and see what you need, because they do have not only day one, but they have early intervention. I mean, it's really, you can't go wrong with going with Tresco and really getting that information that
Yeah.
you.
If anything, if you get into valuation, you know where you stand, you know
Mhm.
where things are, and that's cool. And if you want the support, and if you need the support and you want the support, it's there for you, and you can be sure of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So remember at the website, trescoinc.org, if you wanted to go ahead and check that out, to go ahead and get some more information. Or I think as always, we've always said you can always stop by the offices here at Copper Loop, and you can find someone that will basically do their best to answer any questions that you might have about that. Okay, so let's move on now a little bit, because this is the cool part that I think that you're doing right now, because you moved on from being an actual employee right there. And you mentioned before that you had the flexibility of being able to do some work with that and be able to uh, be at home. And that involves basically being a consultant.
Well, I'm not anymore.
Okay.
I when I left in 2016, I went to go work for UNM, and I became a consultant for the home visiting part.
Okay.
And that's when Tresco started in 2017, their day one. And I became their consultant, and just kind of supporting them and kind of helping them and guiding them on anything that they might need during the process that they were starting up their home visiting program.
Okay.
And so that's how I was kind of involved in that, where I would come and just really be a consultant and kind of guide them and support them in any questions that they may have during the process of starting day one.
Okay. So that was a whole different experience or role for you with helping out Tresco.
Yes, yes. Because it was just seeing them bloom. This is their another new baby that they started, and seeing them bloom on in their program day one, and it was beautiful to see them grow, to start the program, the hiring, the training their staff, and then seeing how they're bringing back feedback and how it's going with families. And so being able to see that, and that approach, early intervention, you really focus on on the child. And with day one, with the home visiting part, it's really supporting the parent, the guardian, really because if, as a parent myself, if I'm not in my state of mind of really being able to support my child, you know, then, or my whole family, it'll be really hard for the child to continue developing. And so them going in and being able to support the parent
Mhm.
in different areas of really just being there, being really there for the family, and talking about the mindfulness, taking care of yourself, that self-care, talking about learning more about child development, and then really talking to the parent of what else is it that you're seeking or looking for. And so just seeing that, it was just really nice to and beautiful to see, and that take off. And
See, yeah, one thing I've noticed that you've used that term several times when speaking about the children that you work with, yours in general, and then even about Tresco and where they were starting the day one program, and that is Bloom, where you talk about where the kids continue to grow and they can do that. So how does that make you feel, knowing that you started with Tresco back in 2006, and you see how much that they have bloomed, how much they have grown, and what they've been doing?
oh, it's just one, I'm grateful to be still, being
Yeah.
able to see that. And it's just, I just don't have any words other than just, it's awesome to just see that how much it's expand. And then being able to hear families and their experience working
Mhm.
with day one, and then that they're getting the support they need, and connecting them with resources that they need. And also with their day one, their parents reaching out that they go from prenatal to age 5.
Mhm.
That's kind of hard to get really in sometimes in other states, getting still that extra support when your child's transitioning from 3 and
Mhm.
then going into, if they're going to pre-K, Head Start, and then before going into kinder at age 5, being able to have that extra service of support, it's it's unbelievable because I also did some home visiting, and I know that getting the support till my youngest son turned 5 was wonderful because I really got him ready for kinder,
Mhm.
and them coming in and giving the resources and showing us what is it that he needs to get ready for school was also very helpful. He was ready. He was able to really even start writing his name before he on the first day of school. So even just seeing that he was well prepared
Oh,
for
that's awesome.
school.
Yeah,
So
that's awesome. Some people say I still have problem writing my name, but that's I think it's just that they just don't understand my writing. I think that's all that is. And I'm left-handed, so that doesn't help. But I'm glad to see that experience, and it's very obvious to see how much that personal experience you have with the program, being on both sides, really means to you as far as that goes. So you were a consultant back then, would help getting the day one started. So, what is your relationship with Tresco right now?
as of now, it's just I'm at home as a parent, and for when families or people are seeking some type of service, I
Hmm.
do tell them, I recommend, you need to go look for early intervention. There's these services. There's also home visiting. And then I do let them know that, there's a company named Tresco, and they have early intervention
Hmm.
tots, and that they have day one. And I give them the information and tell them, all my good experiences that I had as growing with my children and getting all that therapy, and so it was really nice.
You know, um, an interesting thing that'll happen with teachers, because I know a few teachers, is that as they go along through the years, you'll run into some of your former students. Have you ever run into maybe some of your former families that you've worked with to see how much that they've grown? Because you talk about your own family and what happened with your daughter and your son, but is it interesting, or have you ever run into that family that's out there, and then you see how much they've improved or grown as well?
Yes, I do. I had a family that you know I saw. I think I saw them the end of last year,
Mhm.
and mom was telling me she was really excited because we had from her 4 girls, the last 3 they were all with Tresco Tots, and so Tots early intervention, and she was telling me that the second one had just graduated, the
Mhm.
second one was going to graduate, and the third one was a junior in high school. And she said that she just couldn't believe how much, she didn't even think that moment would come, because of the struggles that she had when they were younger. And so being able to hear that and to see that, and that she even remembered me,
Oh, that's great.
that she said, it was just, she said it was a great impact in her family being involved in early intervention and then getting those services, because it really helped her guide her children throughout school and then now to see them graduate. So
Okay, yeah. So that's yeah, yeah, you got that smile on your face. You just got that look on your face. It just says that was because it is an awesome feeling when you see
yes.
that,
Hmm.
and when you run into these families and these parents and see how much the children have grown or bloomed into the young adults that they are. And of course, we just before we started here, we found out how much Tresco is growing, and not going to give away any spoilers or anything like that, Stacy. So don't say I'm not going to, not until I get the official release. But when you see all of that happening with this company, how does that make you feel as far as the growth goes there, or even with your old coworker Sylvia?
I congratulations. Like
Yeah.
I always tell her every time I see her, because It takes a lot. It takes a lot to, when as a consultant working for UNM in the home visiting part, you do get to see the other part. How
Mhm.
does funding work? How does it, paperwork submission, everything that, it trickles down and where it's being asked as, as employee, you see it. Why is it important? Why
Mhm.
is it key? Why do we have due dates? Why is it that we need need to submit it in a certain time? And so just being able to have that opportunity to really see how it works, that also, the things that Sylvia has to do and meet up there and talk to the funders and really, she's really seeking for funding for the community down here, for all the counties that need the support. And it takes a lot. It takes a lot. For someone to go up there and really say, we need this. This is a need here in our counties, here in New Mexico. And so seeing that is just great. It's awesome that, they're expanding, they're doing more and more, and for the state of New Mexico and for our communities,
Yeah.
because families need it here.
That must have been quite an interesting thing for you to go ahead and see that side of things, because we've mentioned before that the services that Tresco offer are free. They're free to the parents and for the community right there. But the money's got to come from somewhere, and getting that funding and going up and dealing with the politicians and all that other stuff. That's got to be so much fun.
Yes, and so, the meeting deadlines again,
Hmm.
turning in that the paperwork, turning in all the documentation needed. Um, just the stress of really having those meetings and then asking the state, we need this funding. We're having more families. We're seeing more families needing that support. And so showing the numbers and that's where that billing, that paperwork, that
Hmm.
turning in everything that's due, that's proof to show to the state, there's families, they're here, they're asking, they need it. Here it is, here are your numbers. And so that's just, for me to hear that Tresco is expanding and expanding, that's wonderful to hear.
Right,
That's great.
which means that they're doing a good job and it's being recognized
Hmm.
to be able to kind of grow like that. Okay, and like I said, your experiences are you give a unique perspective in very different ways for everything that's going on there. So it's been great, talking with you. If there is one more thing that you wanted to say to everybody out there about the Tresco and the Tresco, about Tresco and the program that and the programs that they have right here, what would that be?
um Reach out, call Tresco. If you
Mhm.
have questions or you don't know if Tresco fits for your family or for your child or for your, even, you're looking for some support, call, get information, go online, read all the documentation, everything, the websites. Um, it won't hurt. It's a wonderful place to really get your resources, your information that you might need. It made an impact in my life with my family, and so I've seen families, a lot of families that got impacted in a positive way, and children already graduating now,
Yeah,
with getting all these services. So please take the time to really find out about Tresco more.
absolutely. And of course, once again, if you wanted to go ahead and get some information and ask those questions about that, you can visit the website trescoinc.org to ask about any of the programs that they have. TOTS Early Intervention Services, Day One Home Visiting Program, and of course, even Tresco Works contracts, because the contracts that they have with that are, like I said, they're working in 12 counties. So it's not just here in Las Cruces and Doñana County. They are out all over the place. Where if you know someone that lives in a certain area right there and you still have questions, absolutely go ahead and go to the website, or better yet, call 575-528-2200 is the number. Go ahead and give them a call and get those questions answered. And Lily, it was a pleasure having you on. I get the passion that you have for Tresco, and the unique points of view that you have is really awesome, and it's great to hear those stories that are in there. So thanks for coming by, and hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to you again sometime.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. And once again, that's going to do it for us this week with Let's Talk Tresco. We will see you guys in a couple of weeks, and that way we can learn a little bit more about what Tresco has to offer you. And don't forget the website, trescoinc.org, or to go ahead and give them a call, 575-528-2200. So another couple of weeks, we will be back with Let's Talk Tresco.